IELTS speaking. Here is your 9-point checklist to consider if you are preparing for the IELTS speaking test. First, let me tell you 2 things that should not be on your checklist, that you should not be doing in 2024, just in case you're one of the students doing one of these things. The first one is using a language academy. Language academies, they don't even offer guarantees. They put you in a classroom with maybe 10 other non-native English speakers, and you're expected to improve. Maybe you get 10 minutes of listening to the tutor, and then the rest of the time you're either speaking with a non-native English speaker, and I can't see where it improves you. And it's incredibly expensive as well. And in 2024, there is no need for these, especially with all the online tools. The second thing that worries me a lot is when students tell me that they are speaking alone. Now, this used to be okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it's better than nothing. However, in 2024, there are tools available that will correct your speaking and give you feedback. Speaking alone without that feedback is like running through a forest with a blindfold on. You can't see where you're going, you don't know where you're going wrong, and you're going to get hurt. So let me tell you 3 strategies that are definitely working in 2024 for IELTS students. So the first one is in working on your listening skills. This seems bizarre, but trust me, you need strong listening skills before you can develop stronger speaking skills. And a great place to do this is at the BBC 6-Minute English podcast, because you can get the transcript, you can hear the sounds, and if you want a pro tip, you can even go one step further and you can try the The Economist podcast. Actually, you could even try IELTS podcast, but the Economist podcast is another level of difficulty. And you've got long, complex words, long, complex sentences. And if you want to take it an extra level, then you can pause after you listen and then repeat what you hear. This is called mimicking, and it's a super way to make your English sound more natural. Now, the second technique. Have you got all the topics covered? Can you talk about animals, museums, bargains, birds, celebrities? And there is a difference between thinking you can and actually performing in the exam. That's why it's good just to go through all the different topics out there and make sure you've got them all covered. Now, the next technique is called reflection. This is one that we teach in our course. So if you get a question in the present simple, you reply in the present simple. But the beauty of this technique is that you also try to memorize all the prepositions that were used in the question, and the articles and the structure. So, do you think your government is taking climate control seriously? For example, yes, I think my government is taking climate control seriously. You see, so we just reflect exactly what we hear, and we can do this. We can just practice with this until we master it, and then we start embellishing it, enriching it, and adding some emotion and intonation there, like, oh yes, definitely, my government is undoubtedly taking climate change issues seriously. For example, in my country recently, and then go on and go on. And building on this technique, another technique is we can use frameworks where we've got the whole structure mentally prepared before we even start answering. And again, that's on our online course. The main thing though, the main takeaway here is knowing the difference between actually knowing the strategy and implementing it, because they are vastly different. Now you know about it, but that does not mean that you can actually implement it. And the way you actually implement it and become confident with it is by doing it again and again and again. Now, third technique, And it wasn't an excuse just to put a picture of a cat in, but this technique will help you if you're unfamiliar with sort of like Western customs and culture. Now, a lot of students have said, where do I look when I'm doing the exam? Who do I look at? Because there's this issue with eye contact and maintaining eye contact. Now, you can stare at the examiner 100% all the time like that, but you will definitely get reported to the police afterwards. So a better way to do it is just to make eye contact, then look around, look down, and make eye contact again. That's a natural way. But if you struggle with eye contact, what you can do is just look at the bridge. This is the space between the two eyes, and you don't have to lock your gaze there. You just focus on that area, and it's a quick fix for the issue. The next point on your checklist should be, am I repeating myself? Am I using the same phrases and the same words again and again? Now, you can find this out by using a test simulation tool, or you can find this out by recording yourself and listening to it. It's rather manual, it's tiresome, but it will definitely tell you if you need to improve your vocabulary or vary it a little bit. The next one, speaking muscle. What do I mean by your speaking muscle? Well, I know from speaking foreign languages that if I don't use and practice my speaking skills in Spanish or in Hungarian, for example, they become rusty. So what you want to do is keep speaking as much as possible. And the reason why I'm saying keep your speaking muscle warm is because a lot of students will focus on the writing, for example, because that's where they got 6.5 last time, totally neglect the speaking, and they haven't spoken for like 3 days, 5 days, and they go into the exam and they go in cold. I know from personal experience that you do not want to go into that exam cold. You want to have done as many speaking tests as possible, and you want as soon as before the exam as possible. You want to go in there warmed, having spoken for at least 30 minutes beforehand, so you don't come off rusty. That's what I mean when I say go in there with a warm speaking muscle. Next one, pronunciation. Is it clear? Do people understand you when you speak? How do you find this out? Again, you can use one of the simulators like at IELTSPodcast.com. And another crazy technique is you can ring up companies in England, in Australia, and just talk with them. If they don't understand a word, then you probably got pronunciation or grammar issues. But I think the easiest, most straightforward way is to use a pronunciation tool. And you can get these at all the decent IELTS test speaking simulators. The next one, am I familiar with the test layout? What does this mean? Well, do you know that in part 1, you're going to get a few softball, easier questions just to warm up? In part 2, do you know that you're going to get a cue card? In part 3, do you know the style of questions? Do you know that there could be a chance you're getting a similar question repeated again and again? And just having this familiarity with the exam will help you get more confident and get more familiar, just reduce your nerve. Number 9 on the checklist is your vocabulary good enough? Again, what do you want to check for? Well, what level am I speaking at? Is it at A1, which is around a band 4? Is it at A2? Again, maybe a band 5. Or are we talking at a band 7 level, which is B1, B2, C1, C2 for the 8s and 9s? And, be aware of it. Once you get your report, you'll find out, and you know which words to switch out, which ones to upgrade. And this is how we improve, and this is how we're going to get band 7. Now, the final tip, the bonus tip in your test, remember to smile. This is your opportunity to shine. You've been preparing for this. Go in there with the confidence and show the examiner what you can do. Go in there. The examiner wants to give you as many points as possible. Therefore, with thorough preparation and plenty of practice tests, you're going to be able to show them your ability. And they want to, as I said, this is what countless IELTS examiners have told me. They're looking for opportunities to give you points. So use those complex sentences, assuming you're confident, but smile. Smiling will boost your confidence. It'll make it easier for the examiner, and it'll just set the stage, set the tone for a beautiful IELTS high band scoring IELTS experience. So that's it. Have a great test. Good luck. And if you need any help, just contact us at IELTSPodcast.com.